Welcome everybody back to another Boldcast reaction. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
This is Attack on Titan Season 4 Part 2, Episode 783 of the whole series. What happened last time?
Last time, rumblings going on, Annie's waking up, some crazy shit's happening. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Let's get right into it. Check out Patreon for the uncut version and a bunch of other cool perks. Link in the description. Hope you leave a like and subscribe. Really helps us out on these videos, so please leave a like. Let's go. Is that a hitch? Yeah. Oh, it's probably Stohess. Oh, probably Stohess, Hitch, Annie,
Yeah.
etc. Yeagerists.
Yeah.
People, it's amazing how quickly people grasped onto this whole, like, Eldian thing when they just thought they were humanity, like, 4 years ago. Rest in peace, Zachary. Nobody was watching her. Oh, she just went to her, like, her dorm room. I'm glad she found her. Oh, Jesus. Tell her who you are. Jesus, Annie.
Yeah, I was gonna say Annie's probably weak as hell. Hasn't moved literally hasn't moved a muscle in years.
What are you? What's
the plan?
You saw it? I'm sure you did. Holy shit. Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? Like, what is she? Not what side is she on? Because she's always been on her side. She's always just wanted to get back to her dad.
Yeah.
Is that still the height of her motivation at this point after seeing all that, knowing what is likely to come?
Yeah.
To her father? Like, is that going to be your thing? Is she just going to turn to a Titan, swim across the ocean until she gets back to Liberia before the fucking Titans get there? Try to get her dad out? Is that her main thing? I don't know.
I mean, they have a bit of a head start.
Yeah, they do. They do. At this point,
Yeah.
fair game, honestly.
Yeah.
It's weird seeing her as, like, a teenager and Hitch as, like, so much older.
She could hear her the whole time. She could hear everything the whole time that people were saying.
Oh.
That's even worse.
Whoa.
That's...
She was in, like, a hibernative state.
Yeah.
Sort of. I think you heard that, like, when you went into the crystal, actually. No. Yeah, she never gave a fuck. None of them really did. Wait, whoa. Oh. Damn. Very similar to Reiner in a way. Martial arts of his homeland. Is that why he walks with a cane? Yeah. That's crazy. Well, it's the windmill from Eren's fucking... I mean, probably not, but...
Did you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that very clearly. I think about that every day before I go to bed. And that's what the change was when she freaked out on Reiner. He done some fucked up shit. Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting how what she just said, like, perfectly mirrors what Eren is thinking as well, but just from a different perspective.
Oh.
What about the group of us standing here?
I think it's some sort of elaborate escape plan, probably.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, they literally do. That's
Yeah.
what they're saying right now.
I would say find like a bomb shelter or something, but the weight of all the Titans will just
Yeah.
crush it. Well, if it wasn't an escape plan, you kind of just made it one by that. A gunshot? Another civil war? My
I know.
God.
That's the whole thing. Like,
It's just a cycle,
yeah,
right?
That's the whole
Fuck,
deal.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
今すぐベッドに入って2日間程度眠りこけたいくらいには疲れてるけど、今できるだけのことをしなくちゃ。こじんまりした今日に大きく影響するだろうから。コニーに言うよ。このままでもいいんじゃないかって。アルミ、私はどうしたらいいの？ちゃんの手助けをしなよ。エレンのことどうするの？わからないよ。それにどうしようもないだろ。
Yeah.
ハンジさんと兵長は殺されたかもしれないし、に兄が復活したかもしれない。もう兵団の指揮が無知性だ。そう。ヒストリオも危険になる。
He's still catching up with all of the.
Yeah.
ニコロの立場も危ういことになる。だからもうどうしようもないエレンのことそれくらいわかるだろう。ごめん。エルヴィン団長がこの場にいたら。
We were just talking
Yeah.
about this off screen.
今生き返るべきだったのは僕じゃなかった。
We were literally just talking about this like yesterday about what fucking Erwin would think if he were here today, and I honestly don't know.
Did Armin just snatch her scarf, get rid of her comfort blanket so that she does something for herself for a change?
I mean, can't objects like carry like some juice, like, some memories, you know? Like
Yeah, if he takes that away, she's not
some
constantly
small way.
reminded of the one nice
not
thing.
just that, but
Eren
like
did for
Titan
her.
juice way.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I'm trying to think.
ガビっていうの。
Oh, Kaya.
ガビって変。ミヤの方がいいよ。 さよなら。
That was the gunshot. I thought there was something weird going on. How could I possibly relax around you, you little fucker?
This is like the ultimate weasel.
Don't act like you're some fucking master. Like, what?
Yeah.
He told you about the rumbling? I wonder if he actually did.
エレンの手助けをし、達成された。お前たち義勇兵は指導者を失った。いる兵団の後ろ盾もな。そしてお前たちはよって全ては巨大な足跡の下だ。お前たち義勇兵、故郷の復興の夢も失う。それでもこの島でエルディア帝国のためにいるなら声を上げよう。我々は歓迎し、エルディア人。消えるなクソ野郎。誰がお前らに。
What a great way to inspire the people to join you.
Hey, we're hitting reset on the world. What's the best first thing that we could do in this new age?
Yeah.
Fucking... You're such a fucking moron, man.
Says the, yeah.
As if there's not enough death to go around. I get that this is just a drop in the bucket, don't get me wrong. But, like... You don't speak on Eren's behalf. You don't know what the fuck he's thinking.
Yeah.
もうお前らは戦わなくていい。生きていい。
As long as it's within what I say.
No, he's just
He's just
like to be 100% fair, he is saying within the lines what Eren is saying, but it's not right, man. Great question.
yeah.
残念ながらジークに殺された。
Incorrect.
Just lying to
I mean, he probably thinks that they're dead. They drown in the river or some shit.
ずっと積んでますよね。ほら、夕日があっちに。 いいんだよ。南から離れた方が。特捜室のお前を安全な病院まで送る。一人で倒れてた。本当だ。俺は兵士だからそのくらいの。
He just woke up.
俺は兵士になった。
Be a good soldier and protect everyone.
兄もマーティンも戻ってこないけど取り戻せる。もう少しだけ待っててくれ。母ちゃん。ありがとうございます。コニーさん。俺一人のためにここまでしてくれるなんて。コニーさんはいい人でよかった。でも何とかして南に戻らなきゃ。合流したところまでは覚えてる。でもその後一体何があったんだ。
He doesn't even know.
それに俺はどこかで見たことある気がするんだけど。
On the Zeppelin.
お兄さんが俺を知らないの。気のせい。
Holy crap. Oh!
あの進撃速度から考え像を絶望視したのでしょうか。
いや、賢明だ。これでいち早く本国に事態を知らせることができる。
Oh shit, Maggot's alive?
何か終わりでしょうか。
ない。ただ、最後まで見て。
Ah!
食べないで何の武器もありません。あっちに誰かいる？
Oh, that guy. So glad you asked.
これは
Ah!
死に損ないです。
A completely harmless guy. That guy over there, the most dangerous
Oh.
person. Don't worry about him.
I love that so much. Oh no. Like, It's like,
I seriously,
Ah!
I seriously thought that Pike just like
Pike?
Pike watching too much Critical Role. Peak.
Yeah.
Just like
I love the instant, like, just like, oh, that, who's that over there, you ask? Like, oh my god. Okay, so on the flock stuff, I know there's gonna be a bunch of people in the comments saying that we're not paying attention, saying that we're just a little bit, so forgive a little bit of bias. I don't love the Marleyan dudes or whatever, like, that's not the point. It just seems, and I know, like, it's not technically out of line with what Eren is doing. Obviously, he's over there murdering millions of people, billions of people, potentially. It just seems like the wrong way to start off this new world. We just made an immeasurable sacrifice to ensure our safety on this island. And the first thing you do to the people who are a relative threat, possibly, considering all of everyone they know is dead off the island, the first thing you do to ring in the new year is to fucking cap one of them. And like, it just seems like the wrong message. He clearly thinks it's the right message, and it's not objectively speaking the worst thing to do. Let me get that off my chest real quick. What he did is not necessarily the worst possible move, because like he has good reasoning. Like the best thing we can do after making all these sacrifices is to just make sure that nothing breaks out in here. But every conversation, everyone here is like, I'll do what I can for the people that I love. Everyone's scrambling. They're in fight or flight mode because the world's ending.
well, yeah, that's the thing is when you're trying to
When Shadis was talking about, I'm referencing, when he was like, oh, the Civil War is gonna break out, and when Armin, he's like, everyone's just gonna kill me, everyone's gonna get rid of the old guard, and, you know,
Yeah,
the Yeagers taking control. And then
gonna-
Armin was saying like, oh, we'll just reset and redo the Titan Wars and all that shit. All of the struggle over the last 2,000 years will just happen all over again on this island if we're not careful. There's a lot of tension of like, now everybody's already thinking what comes next. That's basically what the whole episode's about, and it's a difficult problem, so I didn't mean to minimize it anyway, what you're saying.
And then even like amongst the people, there's the people who didn't have any of their family murdered, who are like, Eren freed us all, and then there's the people who like everyone that they knew happened to live right next to the wall and got fucking crushed to death. And then it's like, Eren it was for the good of everyone, but weren't they part of everyone? You know, it's that same thing of like, oh, everyone here can live free because we're getting rid of the people out there. What about the like collateral damage of the people in here who got caught in the crossfire?
Yeah.
Oh well, you don't like it, whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's...
And yeah, all the stuff with Flock, I think because he wanted it and he's already accepted it as, like, this is his future, but I think the main problem with him is that he's not understanding that other people might have a different opinion than him.
I think he's just past considering other people's opinion.
I guess so, yeah, he thinks of this as only a good thing, and anyone who doesn't see it as a good thing is actively against him. Whereas other people are just trying to come to terms with what even happened. I
think personally that like any examination of morality on his side or psychology is beyond necessity. I think that's what he thinks. He's acting out of cold necessity and a little bit of a power trip here and there because he's, you know, unlike Eren, you know, I don't think he takes pleasure in this at all. Flock is clearly looking ahead. He's pretty much the reverse Yelena, where he's looking ahead at this bright future, and Eren, the one who will save us all, the devil who will, you know, can carry us all. I think that any thing of if you don't agree with me, blah blah blah, I don't think it's a matter of an argument. I don't think that he's not up for discussion. This isn't even a choice, or there's no choice. We're just following the already set path that's been going for months, and whether or not anyone discussions of agreeance or whether you submit or whatever is just like, it's all kind of a foregone conclusion, and he's just, you know, acting it out. Mm-hmm. That's the way I see it anyway. What do you think of Annie coming back?
I was interested to see if she was gonna have some sort of like, I don't know,
change of heart,
or no, like other knowledge or something, because we didn't know like what the state that she was in, like what that meant, if she had been more connected to the paths or like what was going on there. But it turns out she was just kind of chilling, like literally just sitting there and like in a dream, but she was still aware of like the people talking to her and stuff.
She was hibernating in a jar, basically.
Yeah. So that was not like as like crazy as it could have been, but it's still interesting to see her coming out and like getting the full backstory of her, which is nice. And then yeah, just, but it's at this point, it's like, what is she gonna do? Like, you can't make it back to Marley before all these Titans that have like, at this point,
maybe she could if they got a fast boat, or she turns into a Titan and grabs onto a colossal and the first one at the front of the pack, and then quickly gets her dad and scuttles out of there if he's still alive.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was the other thing. He was like, like right in there.
He just basically started a riot, or was the first person. I guess he didn't. To say he started it is probably incorrect, but it's all going to hell, and the constant thing we're seeing across everyone is like I said, it's all about what do we do now? What's the next step? Everybody's already thinking about like, how do we salvage this? How do we make the best of this situation? And Armin is literally like, the guy who's like constantly the first to get everything. He's constantly thinking about every detail, and even he is like playing catch up in his head of like, oh my god, yeah, right, Historia, what's she doing right now? Like, he's just
like the audience, like what happened last time on Attack on Titan? Holy, there's literally every single thing that I can think of is another thing that is a problem here.
He also considered, Annie's probably woken up as well, if anything. He came to that conclusion pretty quick. Yeah, it's
and he's going after Connie to get him to stop putting Falco, and actually Armin, like as per usual with him, he has like a very clear idea of like, Connie's mom is always gonna be there. We need Falco to smooth things over right now, but he's probably thinking like, you know, Peak's time is coming up. Reiner's still alive. His time is coming up. Like, there's people whose Titans need to go to someone else, not this kid who is trained for it, just inherited it, and is actually useful to us, and is a good kid.
Yeah.
And will wants to help everything be peaceful.
The only people who know that though are Marleyans though.
Yeah.
Like they don't really know like what Falco's deal is. They kind of do. Like they've spoken to him a couple times, but like the only things they know of him is that maybe they don't even know that he and Gabby clubbed that bricked that prison guard to death and like, you know, were prisoners of war. Like how much do they know about him? I'm not sure. But yeah, he would be way more useful. If you want to feed somebody to your mom, let's wait for like Peak's time to be up. Also, we don't actually even know if they die after 13 years. That's not true. We kind of do know because
I always think that, but
uncle,
then they're getting sick and
Frida's uncle, Rod Race's older brother Uri, he died. He was like getting sick and dying of illness. So I guess we do kind of know. It's always a question, but
I know.
That's the best example.
I really genuinely question that sometimes.
We saw a character like succumb to illness, though.
I know, but we didn't see him actually die, and we didn't. But we do see like a lot of people like their strength is failing, and
I mean, over 2,000 years, you kind of like by trial and error you would figure it out. We've had questions about whether or not like how legit that is, but I think it's safe to say that's a pretty hard line 13-year rule. Anyway, so if you want to see your mom again, maybe let's like roll the dice and she can have another 13 years when Peak's time's up if we manage to capture her. But also then you're asking Connie to trust, and you're asking Connie to trust if you're asking Connie to trust that you can get a hold of another Titan or whatever. Like, I don't. After seeing that scene at the end, I don't think that Connie's gonna go through with it.
Yeah. Well, that's what we were talking about the other day as well. Of like, if he's like kidnapping a child and they are days away from the destination, then it's like, how long are you gonna spend with this other person? And Falco's just being so nice and like, wow, I'm so happy. Thank you so much for helping me.
Speaking of which, how are they? The sun sets in the west and it was to their right. So how are they going south?
They're going north.
The sun sets in the west. It sets in the west and it was on their right side. Therefore, they were heading this way. And that's south. But they were in Shiganshina. And Ragako is north of Wall Rose. I wonder how that works out. Maybe it's a manga issue.
Anyway, they talk about it that they're going north. So
it looks, but he like looks to the see the sun is like setting on their right side. That's weird. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
I just what you know.
Mikasa's scarf is kind of interesting.
Yeah, who took the scarf? Did Eren take the scarf?
Did Armin take it?
Did Armin take it?
Because he told her to just think for herself, because she's always looking to other people for their opinion and their like, what are we doing next kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like, what should I do? It's like, how about you?
It's like, how do you feel about this? Because that's also like Armin's thing. He's very practical, but he does have his own like ideas and morals and like what's right and what's wrong. He can look past it for like to see
for the greater good,
but he has a very he's very aware of like himself and the world and like how he fits into it.
He has a really good sense.
Mikasa is very like, she'll do whatever she needs to do
for Eren
and
add anything else
if people just tell her to, whether it's, you know,
as long as somebody that she trusts.
Yeah. So
the thing is, Armin's always had a good sense of right and wrong, and he's always he's had a good sense. This is even more important. Is he's had Armin's always has a good sense of when things are too far. He always has a good sense of like, okay, are we at the point of no return? Is it last resort time where we have to start making sacrifices? Where we have to, you know, kill a woman who's trying to kill Jean in the back of the carriage? Is this the time to pull the trigger? Sometimes there is a time to pull the trigger, and but also sometimes it's, hey Bertolt, let me talk to you. Let's talk it out for a second. And he's also partly buying time for his people to get in position, but also maybe he could convince him. Maybe there's some way to get through to them. Maybe it's not last resort yet. Maybe if we just, like, we can just talk for, like, 1 second, maybe there's a chance. But, you know, he's at the end of his rope right now. I love how he brought up Erwin.
Yeah, we were literally talking.
We were in the
about
car
this.
talking about it. Like, what the fuck would Erwin think? I don't know what he would think.
And
I don't know what he would say.
It's interesting how Armin is saying that, like, that he was the wrong choice to, like, get kept alive. Because when we were talking about it, I was saying Armin is 100% the right choice.
I agree.
For this situation because of what we were just talking about. Because he, like, views things in such a certain way that it can be beneficial to everyone, but also with his own touch of humanity and, like, what things mean to him. I feel like he's, and because he doesn't know what to do in this situation, so he's doing the only thing that he can do and what sits right with him, which is going to find Connie, prevent him from making a big mistake, and try. Eren, I can't deal with Eren right now. I can't fucking rally the troops and go against Flock. That's not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do something
with Connie, yeah.
And, you know, help my friend who is, like, starting to go down, like, the wrong path, or, like, do something that he might regret. And also help out these other people, Reiner and Peak and Gabi and, like, you know.
I can't look at these things the same way now, actually. That's kind of creepy. Anyway.
So I think that's interesting, you know, just the thinking about that and how I think that Armin was definitely the right guy.
That's something that it's really a hard thing to think about because theoretically speaking, Erwin would be on Eren's team. He would be on Team Eren, but we don't actually know because all Erwin was concerned about was his kind of selfish goal in a way. It benefited humanity, but his selfish goal of finding the truth, that's what he cared about. He wanted to find the truth. But, like, we found the truth, and that was just step one. That's, like, not even, like, so what, after that, what would he do? And I think that's partly why Armin was chosen from a writing perspective, is because Erwin's whole thing was his arc, was getting to Shiganshina, finding the truth and proving his father right. But you know, it's really interesting to think about, and I don't know what he would think. I have no idea, and that's why he was such a great character, is because he was so one-track minded that, like, just to imagine what he would be thinking right now adds a whole new level to, like, the story in a way, because he was so driven, he was so willing to sacrifice everything for like a centimeter of progress. But what happens when the sacrifice is, like, way greater, and, like, where would he draw the line ethically?
Yeah, what happens when, you know, your whole thing, and, like, we saw what it did to the people who, like, wanted to know the truth of their own, but not, like, even nearly as intense as him, and, like, just how fucked it was, even just for normal civilians to, like, have to deal with, our entire reality that we've thought, like, you know, there might have been something else, but it was never what it was, what was actually going on was never a thought in anyone's mind of, like, what the Titans could be, or, like, what the deal with that is.
Most people didn't even think of Titans because they were beyond the walls, and nobody, like, most people in the walls never saw a Titan. Annie's story with her dad was crazy. Interesting that she is, like, a bastard child of adultery with an Eldian, much like Reiner. And it's interesting that, like, before she was very distant and just followed orders, but then when they got to the island, there was this big freak out after they lost Marcel, and she was, like, beating the shit out of Reiner, saying, like, we're going home, fuck this, fuck you, fuck this mission, I'm leaving. Because now she had a reason to go home. She had somebody back there who cared about her, and she never had that before. Or at least she never thought she did, and she had a long time to think about that, probably in the boat ride over, and then, you know, as they were traveling. So that's really interesting to think of that whole scene again when Reiner, like, choked her out and was like, you want me to be Marcel? I'll be Marcel. I'll be the leader. I'll be everything that everybody wants me to be. Fine, whatever. It adds a lot to that, and it adds a lot to her character, but it's all, like, there's nothing super new. It's just concrete and said explicitly.
Filling in the blanks, solidifying it, but nothing crazy.
Especially since we just rewatched season 1 like 2 days ago. We saw her whole episode where she was talking about how she just wants to be an ordinary person, how she just wants to be a normal girl, and thinking about her dad, how you can always come back, and it doesn't matter, you have to make the whole world your enemy. Just stand your ground and come back to me. I'm very sorry. He like sold her out basically to the warrior program basically for their freedom. And it's what do you do? Like, what do you do? Oh, and I think that they were alluding that he was Thai or some like equivalent in this world because it's not actually Earth. Because he has the darker skin. He could either be Brazilian Eldian crossbreed or Thai Eldian crossbreed. It's hard to say because Isayama is a big fan of mixed martial arts, and it shows in the Titan battles and the hand-to-hand combat in the series. But Annie's fighting style specifically has been through like other people's dissection of her fighting style. It's a lot of Muay Thai. Her striking and stuff like that, and possibly Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with some of the holds and things like that. So either he is Brazilian or he is Thai. With a name like Leonhardt, you would think probably closer to Brazilian, but it's hard to say. And again, it's all different shit in this world anyway. Mm-hmm. But I liked that. I liked their relationship and how that was fleshed out, and how she was taken in by him, how he taught her everything and made her as ruthless as possible, because that in a very like Sasuke type way of this is how you'll survive. And then in the last moment, the point of no return when she can't turn back, is when she realizes like, oh no, this person that was driving me towards hatred and bitterness and malice and like strength over all else was really doing it not because they were a shithead and just forcing me to bend to their will, but because they loved me and wanted me to survive and gave me the tools to survive on my own. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I thought that was a really cool twist, really poignant, and then obviously, like I said, it changes her whole outlook. And then we got fucking Reiner's mom talking about devils and shit and all this garbage, but honestly, who can blame her when they're about to all die? Yeah, I mean, what can you say? It's crazy to be still dumbfounded after 2 straight weeks of this shit.
I know.
Not having any clue how it's gonna end up. Like, I
know, especially at this point. I do really like that we're like, we found Levi. He's alive. He's just a normal guy.
Yeah, we just need to give him some Titan juice. Have him eat Peak. Bada bing, bada boom. He heals up. He goes and slices Eren up and stops the rumbling somehow. Kills all the Titans before anyone has a chance.
It's like when Zeke looks over and the like Titans are falling down beside him.
But it's Eren.
Eren looks over all the colossal
the
Titans.
600 plus 1,000 colossal Titans are just dropping like flies in the ocean. Yeah. There's no way out of this.
I don't know, like, I honestly don't know how it's gonna end up, but I do like that we're just, like, reconnecting with doing a little check-in, because things got really out of control and really...
out of hand.
Like, really narrowed in on other stuff, mm-hmm. and we just hadn't seen some of the people who were, like, we literally hadn't seen Annie since... Season 1, no. So... just to like reconnect to all of that and like put all the pieces back on the board so we know where everyone stands and everything is really nice, so that now however it ends up, we like, you know, if everyone's gonna maybe start like, you know, everyone went off in their separate ways, and if things are overlapping, if maybe next episode we might get Historia. Armin brought her up, so maybe we'll see what she is doing or like thinks about any of this. That would be interesting as well,
because we're at episode 23 of season 4. So at most we have 3 more episodes, right? It might go to 30, it might go to 27 to 30, something like that. But if we're going by like the cap normally of seasons of anime, we stopped at 16 last time. We're at 7 now of this half. how in 3 episodes do we wrap this up? Are they going to go 3 episodes in a movie, or are they going to go try and stretch it to 30 and give us a full, or 28 maybe, that'll give us a full 12? But even then, like, how do you wrap this up?
There's so much going on, and it's so, like...
Do you think there's any way that they'll, like, connect with Eren and stop this? Or do you think this is it? Like, these are the 2 options that I see happening. Either they find some way to stop it. They find some way to connect with him and stop it, or something, and it ends up being the test rumbling that everybody wanted, and all the Titans die, but they retreat somehow, or try to find some kind of treaty or something, some sort of peaceful resolution to this. I find that unlikely. So that's one option. The more likely option is the rumbling concludes, the world dies, except for whoever's on the island and a couple stragglers here and there. And then Eren uses the power of the Founding Titan to wipe everybody's memory, and then dies. Hopefully taking all the Titan power with him, and just restarting from scratch, basically, with whoever's left. And people don't have the memory of what happened, and they can go on living guilt-free. But basically, you know, war will still happen, conflict will always be inevitable and still happen.
Yeah, the reason that there wasn't... Like, there was definitely conflicts within the walls before, but the whole thing was they were constantly battling the Titans outside. So now...
No, they weren't.
Well, there was, like, the fear of... They were, like, out there. They were, like, the threat. One day the Titans might get in.
But that was just a surface level nothing. That wasn't even the actual thing. We learned in Season 3, Part 1, that it was all just a ruse. The real fight was suppressing the people and staunching, like, stamping out any technological advancement. Anybody who went outside the walls got fucking their fingernails peeled off. You know, that was the real war. It was a war of information and a war to maintain the status quo. The Titans were just a distraction and a defense mechanism for the wall. Anyway, sorry to cut you off.
I guess, I mean, like, there wasn't a lot of, like, civil wars or, like...
Yeah. There were little uprisings here and there. That's what we learned, is that there was constantly little things that the first division of the military police with Sonus and shit.
That's true. Never mind. I just forgot some stuff.
Now that was the main war. That's what we were fighting against in Season 3, was that whole shit. The Titans were just a defense and a way for Marley to keep everybody caged in. That was just a smokescreen. That's just nothing. The real war was between people the whole time. That's what this season's all about. That's what Season 3 was all about. Were you trying to make a greater point that I kept cutting you off?
No, I was just thinking about, like, now there's, like, such a clear, like, if they don't get their memories erased, there's such a clear divide of, like, people who are, and it's, like, maybe closer to even 50-50 of, like, people who liked this and think it was worth it, and people who don't think it was worth it. And if both sides have Titans, and we know about Titans and how to use them, then yeah, it's gonna turn into the same thing as they already found out what was going on. Because that was the thing for most of, like, humanity. They didn't know about, like, that humans can turn into Titans and we can have these warrior people that can do crazy shit all the time. So
for 100 years we didn't know.
Yeah,
just
for most of the time within the walls, they didn't know. So now that they know, and there's, you know, all these crazy shit has gone down, like, and there's no line of, like, what's right and what's wrong, then what's, you know.
I mean, they always did know. It's just a select group, the ruling class knew and the people didn't know, but the king and all of his people...
Yeah, but they didn't have any of them, other than
They had the Founding Titan.
Other than the one Founding Titan.
The most important one with royal blood.
I'm saying there wasn't, like... one group in the walls had, like, 3 of them, and the other group had, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, I think the point to that is, it's not about who's in the walls and the civil war in the walls. It's about people. It's reinforcing the idea that, like, the war was always happening. This isn't a new thing. It didn't stop 100 years ago. It was just put on pause, and because it's not about Eldians versus versus whatever else, or people in the walls and people out of the walls. It's about people as a whole, and that's where the tragedy comes from. That's where the issue comes from, and you know, I think thinking of it in the context of in the walls we knew this, or in the walls this people weren't aware of this. I think that's like it's like being a little bit short-sighted and missing like the greater point of the whole story. Personally, I'm saying that you forgot way too much about the show.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you've seen it way more than I have as well.
Not really. Season 3 I've seen it about as many times as you have, maybe one more time. What else? I guess that's it.
That's probably it.
I guess that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you next week. Leave a like and subscribe. See you in the next one. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.